about community. And as you've heard over the last several weeks, our focus has been on speaking about community. And community is that third tenet of missionary discipleship. And we've spoken about encounter, we've spoken about accompaniment, and then we're speaking about community. And in this series, you've heard from Father Steve and Deacon John and Deacon Frank and myself about what it is. What is community? How do we as Catholic Christians bring our faith to others? How do we reach out into the community? But also, how does the community support us and strengthen us? What does it mean to be in community with other people? And why is that so important in our Catholic Christian faith? I'd like to share a quote that I just read this week, and this is from Bishop Gomez, from Archbishop Gomez. And here's what he said. He says, "My brothers and sisters, all of our parishes are a place where disciples are made, but we are not meant to remain there. We have to take Jesus out of the sanctuary and into the world." That's what we're speaking about. How do we take the joy of Christ out into the world? Pope Francis, in this apostolic exhortation, had a great line. I just love it because it just means so much. He says, "I dream of a missionary option, that is, a missionary impulse capable of transforming everything, so that the church's customs, ways of doing things, times and schedules, language and structures can be suitably channeled for the evangelization of today's world rather than for self-preservation." In that quote, he's asking us to move forward. He's asking us to move out into the community to share our faith. One of the things that's been interesting as I've listened to, again, my associates over the last several weeks, is they've spoken about their personal experiences. They've spoken about how they have experienced community, how it has supported them, and how it's given them the opportunity to support others. And I'd like to share some of my personal experiences with you as well. A few years ago, I was an associate hospital chaplain at Virtua Hospital. And I would spend about 20 to 25 hours a week in the hospital and in various nursing homes, just visiting with people. And not just the people who are ill, but visiting with their families as well, trying to help them make sense of the things that were happening in their lives. And I remember some instances very, very, very vividly in my mind. There was a young woman, a beautiful young woman, who had overdosed on drugs. She was from New York. She came down with friends. She had drug problems. She came down with friends. They bought drugs. They took drugs, and when she became ill and overdosed, they literally just left her on the side of the road, and then drove back up to New York. So she was taken to the hospital in very, very bad condition. I mean, she was very, very serious. Parts of her body were just shutting down. And I remember meeting her parents. And her parents were just wonderful people. And they'd struggled with this whole situation of her drug abuse for a number of years. They tried the things that all parents try. They tried to help her financially, and that backfired. They tried to help her with housing, and that backfired. They just tried to do so many things, and they were just frustrated beyond belief. And the grief that they were struggling through was so great. And I just remember spending so much time with them over the weeks that their daughter was in the hospital. And their faith was strong, but it was being tested at that particular time. As their daughter became stronger and stronger, still not completely well, stronger and stronger, they viewed it as this opportunity now to be able to start fresh, that maybe they would be able to help her overcome this drug addiction and how it had changed their lives. It was another ray of hope. Okay? It was another ray of hope for them. The community that they experienced was the community of the hospital staff, the community of the workers, the community of the people who surrounded them every single day, and their daughter every single day, offering them encouragement, just helping them to get through the situation. I kept in touch with them for a while, and 2 years after this incident, the daughter was clean and sober, and was doing well, was going back to school, and they felt there had been a change in their lives. And they mentioned to me so often that had it not been for the love and the support of the people of our area, they would not have gotten through this situation. And they know that the daughter would not have gotten through the situation. So I keep her in my prayers always, and her family. I hope that she stays drug-free, and that the family is able to just continue to help and support her. Beautiful situation of community. Other times that I remember, we're in the NICU unit in the hospital, and that was probably the most heart-wrenching for me. There were days where there was such joy, and you would hear a bell ring through the sound system in the hospital when another child was being born, and there was just beautiful things happening. But there were also the sad times. I remember one instance where I was called to come up to the NICU. The child had been born, but the child was dead. And for me, I went in with the hope of really being able to comfort them in some way. I don't know how. I don't know in any way what words I could have said. But when I walked into the room, I saw the most beautiful sight. I saw the mom sitting in a chair. The incubator was next to her, okay? But the child was in her arms. The child who had died was in her arms. And the dad was standing next to her. It almost looked like a picture of the Holy Family as they were there, okay, looking down upon their beautiful baby, okay, who just did not make it. And I looked at them and I spoke with them, prayed with them, and their encouragement to me was beyond belief. Their faith was stronger than I could have ever imagined. How they looked at this particular situation and how they knew that their child was with the Lord. It was a sad picture for me to see at first, but it was a joyful experience just to see how their faith strengthened them through this particular situation. There were other situations like that I encountered at the same time. I spent time in nursing homes, visiting with folks who, at the late stage in their lives, they were ill and they were no longer to be able to be in their homes. And they spoke about how family and friends had supported them, how the strength of the community had really worked with them to help them through the difficult times. I would remember as volunteers would come in and extraordinary ministers would come in, and so many people would come to try to offer strength and support to those who are facing those illnesses. And my friends, that's really what community is. It's not living in isolation. As Father Steve says, there's no lone rangers in our Christian faith. We are a people of community. We are here to reach out to others, to in some way be able to touch and comfort them, as Deacon Frank mentioned in his segment, to just be able to put our arm around a person and to be able to help them. We are blessed in our particular parish, Saints Peter and Paul, to have a wonderful faith community, to have people who care so much about each other that they're willing to lend a hand to others, that they're willing to go out into their community and help with food and with other needs. Our community is also a community of faith relative to our religious education students and families. You know, we come together as teachers. We have a great group of teachers and a great religious education program within our parish, where we are able to bring our faith to others, and those teachers are able to just touch the lives of young people. That's community. There is so much that we can do. There's so much that we're doing. and there's still so much that we can continue to do. When we help people to encounter Christ, and we do that when we become the face of Christ to others and see the face of Christ in them, we are creating an opportunity for people to encounter Christ in a special way. And when we are giving them this encounter of Christ, okay, our next step is to accompany them, to be able to help them through various situations, be able to be by their side. And then we draw them into our community. Okay? We help them. We continue to reach out to them. We bring resources to them, right? We match up resources. We have this great program in the diocese called Vitality, where we're able to bring healthcare services to those in need. We have Catholic social services. We have food banks. We're able to match up the needs of the people to the resources that are there. Okay? That's the accompaniment. We become part of this great community of faith that helps others. In a few months, we'll start to share the last part of missionary discipleship, which is sending forth, okay? Going out and bringing our faith to others. So that's kind of the next part that we'll be speaking about. I hope that you have found this particular series worthwhile. Please always keep in mind that we as Christians, we as Catholic Christians, we are a community of faith. We live in community. Okay? We are not we're not there to just keep everything to ourselves, but to bring God's love out to others in such a meaningful way. That's the opportunity we have. My friends, I thank you for watching. May God bless you. May God bless your families. And may you always understand the joy of the gospel. God bless you.